I felt like I was robbed, you know, like other people have fathers. Why don't I have my father in my life? That would pretty much sum it up for me.
Roy Smith grew up never knowing his father, an open wound even after he became a minister.
There were times I was very uncomfortable, especially as a pastor. You know, when it's Father's Day and you're encouraging congregations to spend time with their father, and, you know, there's like something missing.
But a business deal gone wrong was about to connect Roy with his long-lost father. The church board decided to purchase their own building. They didn't qualify for a loan, until Roy was introduced to a broker who said he could get them a loan.
He said whatever building we found, he would definitely be able to help us secure a loan through financial institutions that primarily supported churches.
Roy and his congregation were ecstatic as they purchased a church building. But one day, Roy received a phone call from the FBI. He was charged with committing fraud. His attorney took a close look at the loan paperwork and discovered the broker had inflated the church's assets to get the loan. Roy had not caught the lie.
I was left holding a bag. My signature was on loan applications.
Roy was sentenced to 15 months in prison.
I said to myself, God, you can't be letting this happen.
Roy was taken to prison.
When I arrived at the prison, I sat down with one of the counselors who was going over orientation with me. He begins to tell me my room assignment, and when he mentioned the name of a person in the room, I almost did a double take when he said Roy Melton, because Roy Melton, you know, that's my dad.
When he was finally escorted to his cell, Roy realized that his cellmate was indeed his father, who was in prison for dealing drugs. It had been over 20 years since they had seen each other.
On the inside, I felt like a 6-year-old little boy. I think I think in my mind, I just wanted to touch him. I was scared. I didn't know if I hated him, if I loved him. I didn't know if he hated me. I had repressed all of that stuff for so long. I wasn't 100% sure this was a good thing.
One day, he noticed his father's newspaper clippings. They were all of Roy.
He knew stuff about me when I was in the newspaper for high school accomplishments, and when I got married, and even the case on why I was sent to prison. So he was aware of what was going on with me. And all of these years, I felt that he not only did not know, but he did not care.
When I came across the article of him opening his first church, you know, I mean, it was like a father's pride, you know. Even though I was in jail, you know, it made me walk around with my chest stuck out.
Over the next few months, Roy and his father began to develop their relationship. 8 months into his prison sentence, the chaplain asked Roy to speak at a chapel service. He asked his father to come. His father refused.
It was something that kept pulling me, kept saying, go, come on. You know, and it's like, I don't know, grabbed my hand, picked me up, and took me.
At the end of the service, the chaplain asked Roy to give an altar call.
Normally when the chaplain would give an altar call, you know, no one would come forward. Most of the inmates were very private people, so any type of public acknowledgement of anything really wasn't the norm. It was something that you just didn't do in front of the other inmates. So I'm doing an altar call, not expecting anyone to respond. This Sunday was different. When I looked up and I seen somebody coming towards the front, and it was my dad. When I saw the tears streaming down his face, I knew that he was giving his life to the Lord.
God made me come to terms with myself. He opened that gate and he let me out. That's the beginning of my freedom.
I hugged my dad and I began to weep. For the first time, I felt a real connection, that our connection was a lot deeper. Going forward, it was an awesome feeling.
A few weeks later, Roy was released from prison early for good behavior. His father was released in 2009, and their relationship is completely restored. Roy has written a book about their journey and what God has done in their lives.
All things do work together for good. And my love for God is stronger now. My commitment to the Lord is stronger. And my life, I couldn't imagine my life any other way now. I thought I was living before, and I think I've only just begun to really live in that, abundant life that is promised to believers.